it would be a good idea to discuss with your immigration programs the possibility of incurring additional expenses and just reviewing budgets because if filing windows are to be missed, for example, because we can't file the 9089 timely because the flag system is still down, then we would need to restart the process.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Immigration and Mobility Decoded. I am one of your hosts, Eric, and joining me today for this rapid reaction podcast is my other co host, Cecily. Cecily, how are you doing? A lot of news lately, and putting this together really quickly.
Yep, a lot of news. I feel like immigration can't catch a break right now, so we're trying to, stay on top of all of the news that's coming out, and wanted to get together today to really kind of break down the info that we have at present, recording this the morning of October 1st regarding the government shutdown.
Yep. And also joining us today to really help us understand more about the government shutdown and the impact on immigration services and what it might mean moving forward is our colleague Jordan Mendez. Jordan is a managing attorney at Corporate Immigration Partners. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time out on what I would imagine is a very busy day, and it's been a very busy few weeks. So thank you so much for hopping on and being able to chat about this this government shutdown. How are you doing today?
Very okay. Thanks so much, Eric and Cecily. Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy past couple of weeks in the world of immigration. And now we have something else that we definitely want to bring to the attention of everyone that could potentially be impacted. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Jordan, it's been definitely a very crazy last few 12 days for you and your colleagues over at CIP. I'm just out of curiosity, how are you holding up? How have you been navigating these last few days?
Well, it's definitely a challenge to just continue to stay on top of everything as it seems to change so frequently. But our colleagues are definitely monitoring and getting out the word to clients about how we can best prepare and just best reduce any risk to the extent possible with everything going on in the immigration world today.
Yep. Right. Well, hopefully things will quiet down for a bit, but until then, we are here to talk about the government shutdown, which as of 12:01 a.m. on October 1st, 2025, the US government has officially shut down following a lapse in federal funding legislation. There will likely be some impact on immigration agencies and services, which we're going to get to in just a second. We are closely following the situation as it unfolds. As with government shutdowns, they can they can end very quickly, or they can extend for a longer period of time. The last government shutdown in 2018 stretched for, I believe, 30-ish days into 2019. And at that time, that was the longest government shutdown on record. And so, what we're going to be talking about, Jordan and Cecily, we're going to be looking at prior shutdowns, just kind of inform what we might expect. So, I'm going to turn it over to Cecily to kind of discuss some impact on immigration services.
Exactly. I mean, what you alluded to, Eric, is getting an idea of what we can maybe expect in terms of a government shutdown by taking a look at some of the prior shutdowns and, the most recent one that you mentioned. So, as with prior shutdowns, fee funded immigration agencies, including U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, so USCIS, and the Department of State, both embassy and consulate operations, are expected to experience minimal disruption. These agencies are primarily funded by fees paid by petitioners and applicants. Jordan, what can past shutdowns tell us about this one?
Yeah, I think Cecily's as Eric mentioned, the past shutdown um, in 2018 that lasted 35 days did show minimal disruptions to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and U.S. Department of State, which are both funded by fees. It also continues to, we continue to designate U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, CBP, and ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as essential agencies. So we do not expect any or minimal disruption to those agencies and the services they provide. Um, but in 2013, we did see another shutdown where the Department of Labor suspended their operations, and that caused significant disruptions. So there is a distinction between 2013 and 2018 to 2019, whether it was a partial or a complete shutdown. And the shutdown in 2013 impacted all 12 regular appropriations bills, and the DOL had limited access to non-annual appropriations bills. So it required a halt to all discretionary funding.
Thank you. That's helpful in kind of understanding what we can expect. And obviously, it's a fluid situation now, and what we can understand of the shutdown and what the impact on immigration is. But overall, a shutdown does impact immigration services, correct?
Yeah, so particularly the Department of Labor, this means that filing the prevailing wage determinations, which is the first step in the green card process, this also impacts labor certification applications. So the 9089, the last step in the green card process. In addition, we have the labor condition application that is impacting H-1Bs, H-1B1s, and E-3 filings. So what that means is that there's a system called FLAG, the Foreign Labor Application Gateway, and all of these different filings are submitted through that online portal. So as early as this morning, the online portal was still online, but in the past hour, it has said they've posted a message saying under maintenance due to lapse in funding, all foreign labor certification activities have been suspended. So this can really cause significant delays for applications that are either pending or have yet to be filed, because we cannot file them until the flag portal is up and running again.
So in waiting for, the flag portal to continue and resume and operate as it has in the past, we're just expecting delays. Are there anything that you're kind of relaying to your clients in terms of waiting on the resuming of the flag portal and those impacts that we're expecting to see with the LCAs and perms that you mentioned?
Yeah, so when when a foreign national comes up for an extension, let's say an H-1B status, the first step of the process is to file an LCA. So since the Department of Labor is no longer processing LCAs, then that impacts the ability to file an extension for an H-1B or a transfer. So if a company is wanting to bring over a new employee, then that process may need to be delayed. So I would communicate this to managers to expect some pushback as far as start date, and unfortunately, it's to be determined when that would be for new employees, and then also for people who have upcoming expirations. Hopefully, we've already filed their extension. We do try to initiate that process 6 to 8 months prior to the expiration. But if there's an H-1B who is coming up on an expiration where the extension has not yet been filed, then that is a situation that we would want to look at together with the immigration team to determine whether there will be a gap in employment authorization. Um, and there's other impact on the green card process. So the green card process, we typically try to start at least 3 years before the max stay to avoid any gap in employment authorization. And as I mentioned, the first step of that process is submitting what's called a prevailing wage request. That pens with the government for approximately, now it's 4 months. And then, so if we can't submit that, then we can't get started on, that's going to push back when we get started on the green card process. Or if there's already one pending, it's going to be pending for longer. The same with the 9089, that last step in the perm process. We are filing that to protect the foreign workers and try to avoid any gap in work authorization. But essentially, now the timeline is completely outside of our control, and that we just have to wait until they start their services again and continue to adjudicate these perm filings.
Eric, any additional questions you have for Jordan as kind of this initial piece on the impact on immigration services that we're seeing?
Yeah, thank you, Cecily. So Jordan, obviously today, October 1st, is also a day when many sponsored employees, particularly those on H-1Bs, start employment based off of them their petition being accepted in the prior H-1B lottery. Anything we need to know about that, or anything that could be disrupted on that front in terms of start dates?
Great question, Eric. So those who have an H-1B approval that lists as a change of status will still continue to go into effect. So they will change status for let's say F1 to H-1B starting today automatically. The government shutdown does not impact that change of status. Um, I will say for other reasons, if is a H-1B cap petition that was approved as a consular approval, meaning that foreign national needs to leave the US, obtain their visa stamp at a US consulate outside of the US, and then re-enter to activate that H-1B status, we might be seeing additional delays. So the Department of State adjudicates those consular petitions, and while they are considered a unimpacted because they're funded by application fees, just the funding deficits may create additional delays in visa processing. And because we're also seeing interview waiver options being taken away, so more people are going to have to go in person for their consular interviews. So just a combination of several different policies and the government shutdown happening at the same time will result in visa appointment adjudication delays.
Definitely. So obviously, this government shutdown comes on the heels of the presidential proclamation that is, going to impose that $100,000 fee on H-1B petitions. Any rumblings that like any way these two are tied together or anything on that sort? I mean, we've just been hit with so much news lately in the employment-based immigration world. Just out of curiosity, if that proclamation, along with some of the rule proposals to change the H-1B to a more of a wage-based system, any threads connecting all of these recent news items?
So we are seeing that the system that is used to determine the prevailing wage has also been shut down. So if a employer is looking to determine what the prevailing wage is for a new H-1B worker, or determine what the prevailing wage might be for a green card application, then we no longer have the ability to look up that data. I guess it's possible that the government makes changes to that while the government is shut down, but that is still definitely to be determined. There's no direct correlation between the H-1B proclamation and the government shutdown. The government shutdown is more of a standstill between Congress and trying to figure out, how they are going to appropriate funding, and just this partisan gridlock.
I got it. That is very, very helpful to know. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing insights on that particular question. Jordan, final question for me, and then I'm going to turn it back to Cecily to wrap things up on this very busy morning. There have been some media reports on the White House, and particularly the office of the OMB office, to they are directing agencies to prepare mass firing plans. I think there was an article by Politico that came out a few days ago. I haven't seen much movement on that front, it, and if it may or may not impact immigration agencies. Do you have any more insight on that? Or is this kind of one of those we just kind of have to wait and see what news comes out at the hour of the day on whatever day?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do not have any additional insight into that. I have seen that other news outlets are reporting on Trump's threats to lay off a vast number of federal workers. But like you said, Eric, it's not clear how that is going to impact immigration agencies. We do not expect it to impact ICE or Customs and Border Patrol because that is where the White House is wanting to direct a lot of money for immigration enforcement. But how that may impact other immigration agencies is yet to be seen.
And as we kind of wrap up today, I think in general, to mitigate the impact of the government shutdown, employers should consider coordinating with their immigration counsel to prepare for the scenarios that could impact their specific organization. So, Jordan, you did a great job highlighting, what we can expect from processing delays. That impacting start dates, as well as just overall communication is really important in times of uncertainty. So, continuing to communicate with your immigration counsel as we continue to hear what's going on from an immigration standpoint and how it relates to the shutdown. Anything else you would add as final thoughts, Jordan?
Yes. So a few things in past government shutdowns when foreign nationals' work authorization has lapsed due to a government shutdown. USCIS has provided sort of forgiveness for that late filing and has allowed those foreign nationals to continue to work despite that gap after the extension filing. So that's something that we could see, that we have some leniency in that respect, to forgive certain late filings once the government resumes operations. The other thing I wanted to mention was just the e-verify system, in addition to Flag, which again is the online portal where we file those LCAs, the prevailing wage requests, and the 989s. E-verify is also unavailable. So the employers will not be able to create e-verify cases for I-9 purposes, but to continue to remain compliant, they can do this manually. And then, of course, when the e-verify system is available again, they can enter in the data on the online.
Great. Well, Jordan, I think that is going to bring us to a close in our rapid reaction to the government shutting down in the early morning hours of October 1, 2025. Anything else that you would add about the shutdown or just things to monitor in the upcoming hours and days? Like I mentioned at the top, for all we know, the shutdown could end later today or even tomorrow morning. But on the other hand, it could extend for up to 30, maybe even longer days. So anything else that you would add?
It would be a good idea to discuss with your immigration programs the possibility of incurring additional expenses and just reviewing budgets, because if filing windows are to be missed, for example, because we can't file the 9089 timely, because the flag system is still down, then we would need to restart the process. So, what are those potential costs going to be, and how does that impact the overall program moving forward? But I think that we covered everything else, Eric.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate the time this morning. And I know it's a very, very, very busy time. So, Cecily and I really appreciate you being able to hop on, share these insights, and we'll go from there. To our listeners, be sure to visit envoyglobal.com as well as our YouTube page to ensure that you are up to date on the latest when it comes to the government shutdown and other employment based immigration matters.